Hi there everyone, and welcome back to another notable chess game of the 19th century. And in this chess game, white is George Atwood, and his opponent is Jonathan Wilson. And George Atwood was a mathematician, and he was a lecturer in the Cambridge. And one of his students was William Pitt, the British Prime Minister. So the British Prime Minister was the former student of George Atwood. And Atwood, as a mathematician, was also a chess player. He joined the London Chess Club, and in the London Chess Club he played many games. And he has recorded some of his games in his famous notebook, including the chess games of Francis Andrea Philidor. And he also played many games with the legendary Philidor. And after his death in 1833, George Atwood's famous book was bought by George Walker. So anyway, after this short introduction, let's check out this very instructive and a very beautiful chess game of the 19th century, one of the notable chess games of the 19th century. So the mathematician George Atwood starts the game with playing e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4, Italian opening, bishop to c5, c3, knight to f6, and Atwood castled, d6, d4, bishop to b6, d takes on e5, knight takes on e4, queen to d5 by George Atwood, threatening checkmate and also attacking the knight. Well, Jonathan Wilson is defending with the bishop to e6. If knight to c5, of course queen takes on f7, that's checkmate. So bishop to e6 and queen takes knight. But getting back the material after d5, forking the queen and the bishop, George Atwood captures the pawn, bishop takes on d5. Bishop takes bishop attacking the queen, queen to g4, g6, and bishop to g5 attacking the queen. Bishop takes on f3, attacking the queen also. So g takes on f3. Well, of course, if queen takes on f3, queen takes on g5, and white needs to resign. Black is a piece up. G takes on f3 and damaging the pawn structure in the king side. Queen to d7, saving the queen. Bishop to f6, saving the rook. Knight to a3, h5, saving the queen. Queen to f5, rook from a to d1, g5, h4, g4, f4, knight to e7, rook to d3, c5, knight to c4, and of course I'm assuming that you have already solved the threat. George Atwood is threatening to play knight to d6, forking the king and the queen. So queen to e6, but knight to d6 anyway, that's check. King to f8, and bishop takes knight, king takes on e7, rook from f to d1 by George Atwood. Jonathan Wilson played queen takes on a2, Wilson is going for the material, and rook 3 to d2, defending on b2, rook from a to d8. And here comes an interesting move, rook to e1, queen to b3, f5, a5, and e6, threatening to play pawn takes pawn, and that's check. So f6, closing the file, and in this position, George Atwood found the winning move, and he played a very beautiful move. Really, that move was epic. So can you guess the next move of white? What would you do in this position? How to get the initiative? How to win as white in this position? So white plays a move and wins on the spot. Can you guess that move? And if you are ready, George Atwood played knight to c8, that's check, sacrificing the knight. And we have rook takes knight. But before showing the continuation, let me show you the other possible continuations. So after knight to c8, if king to e8, then rook takes on d8, king takes on d8, and knight takes on b6, queen takes on b6, queen to b8, and winning the rook, George Atwood thought very deeply in this position, and he saw the every possible continuations. He was a very talented chess player, and let me show you the other possible continuation. So let's say if king to f8, then e7, forking the king and the rook. This is also losing. In the real game, Jonathan Wilson captures the knight. But then George Atwood played queen to d6, check, king to e8, queen to d7, king to f8, queen to f7, checkmate. Look at this marvelous chess game. What a beautiful checkmate by George Atwood from 1801, a long time ago, in London. What a game. So I hope you have enjoyed watching this video, and I hope to see you next time. Take care and bye bye for now.